This is the worst Dead by Daylight event. Worse than last year's Christmas event, worse than the first Halloween Void event, worse than the first Blood Generators event, worse than all of them. So let me start with the positives, because there are still some, despite everything else. First is the new survivor, Shane. It is really cool that we have Native American representation in Dead by Daylight, and he is well designed, well voice acted. He's a nice addition to the cast. Another positive is, even though I'm about to rag on it, the game is a lot of fun with friends, so you can get a team of 4 together, go and have some fun, see what you can do with all the crazy effects. It's a pretty good time. However, that is where my list of positives end, because, wow, there is a lot bad about this event. So first is perhaps the most egregious one. They made it so that the anniversary cakes barely spawn, and by the time I'm recording this, it's at least a few hours after they implemented a alleged fix to the spawn, which, to be slightly fair, I ran the numbers, and before the fix, I got 12 cakes per prestige level for each of my killers, and 9 cakes per prestige level for each of my survivors. After the fix, I now get an average of 19 cakes for my survivors, and an average of 27 for my killers. It's not much. Hot take, I think we should get a cake for each blood web level, so each prestige level, that's 50 levels, should give you 50 cakes. I just don't know why behavior is so fucking stingy for blood points. Because it's not like Eerie Shards. You can't exchange blood points for killers or survivors or their cosmetics. If you want my crazy conspiracy theory, I think that we were supposed to barely get any cakes, you know, much like how last year we got less cakes than on the 8th anniversary, and they also upped the rarity of the cakes. So, with those two things together, we were supposed to get less cakes than even last year. But I think the community, both sides of it no less, were calling out behavior for this lack of cakes, and so they had to act quickly. And speaking of stuff they should probably act quickly on, Shane's perks. I like the character, but I don't like his perks. So basically, Lend a Hand was buffed from the PTB. Before, it removed a fourth of a survivor's health bar after cleansing or blessing a totem, but you could only do it on one survivor once per trial. I know a lot of people found this balanced, but I wasn't one of those people. I thought we shouldn't be putting in pretty much 2.5 brand new parts on survivor health bars. But they buffed it, so now you can use it once on each survivor. And to be clear, it gives 4 charges to each survivor bar, and one survivor health bar is 16 charges. So basically, if you use it on every survivor, which is easy to do if you keep lighting boons, you essentially remove an entire health state from the game. And this doesn't even count if the survivor that you're healing is running Resurgence, because if you run them together, you can heal them in less than a second. And this isn't even counting if more than one person runs this perk. Next is his perk, Wide Open Throttle. Thankfully, I have not found this perk too oppressive, because people are mostly just fucking around with it, using it to vault pallets in order to reset them. But I feel like once this event is over and people play a little more seriously, it will be very oppressive in Chase, because you can essentially use Sprint Burst or Life and then use this perk in order to get even more distance on the killer. But the absolute worst has to be Cross-Examination. Thankfully, behavior got their head out of their asses, and it is going to deactivate in Chase, but only after bug fix patch 3. For reference, this event launched with bug fix patch 1, and assuming behavior gets out 1 bug fix patch per week, which they don't always do, that means killers will have to put up with 2 weeks of broken cross-examination. The only saving grace is the effects that survivors get from this event are so OP, a lot of people aren't running these perks. This leads to the biggest problem with the anniversary event. It is so survivor-sided. But really, at this point, are you surprised? I'm sure as shit not. So basically, to try to simplify the event as much as possible, survivors get effects that include, but are not limited to, haste, endurance, elusive, invisibility, invincibility, rebuilt pallets, invincible pallets, on-demand sprint burst, and teleporting. So what do killers get for this event? They get poisons that slow survivors down to walking speed if the survivors only shift W. Killers can also poison objects, but really, they're fucking worthless. They last way less than Plague's infection, and on top of that, due to how the event works, killers could be on the other side of the map when the poison actually takes place. And even if poisoning objects does work, the effect is not worth the effort, because survivors will just walk in a totally different direction for 1 second, if that. What makes all this work is that some of the most OP effects are caused by survivors taking items from dining trays and placing them on a table, which would probably be really oppressive if dining trays spawned far from tables. But in a lot of the games I play, dining trays usually spawn next to tables. So while, say, a bunch of survivors are looping the killer or working on gens, one survivor can just stand next to the tray and the table, quickly put 4 morsels onto the table, and boom, everyone gets healed and gets a bunch of OP effects. Oh hey, then why not just play the normal queue? Because I tested out the normal queue earlier today, and it is only baby survivors and flashlight squads. So you're either gonna stomp the team that you go up against, or you're gonna be miserable. There's no in between. And speaking of the normal 1v4 mode, I have a feeling that all these OP effects that survivors are getting are beta tests for upcoming perks. Like we got rebuildable pallets from Rick after the anniversary event, we got release state smoke bombs after the Halloween event, and we got release conviction after 2v8. So my advice, if you're gonna play the game anytime soon, just straight up don't play killer, just play survivor. There is no reason to play killer recently. At best, you can maybe get some event quests out of the way, but don't try to win, just don't. You will be so fucking miserable. In an ideal world, both killers and survivors would have OP effects and be swimming in cakes. This could have been the best anniversary event yet. I mean, it's 10 fucking years. How many live service games can claim that they reached that? But, like so much stuff in this game, it's ruined by behaviors, greed, and incompetence. Happy 10 fucking years, Dead by Daylight. You have not earned it recently.